How you guys doing today? Good, good, good. I want to introduce myself to some of you. Some of you may know me, some of you may not, but my name is Treasure. I am a cinematographer and narrative editor of 10 years plus. I recently changed my title to narrative editor and not just editor because I am an intentional storyteller. So depending on what type of editing I am doing, it's always going to be in a form of storytelling. Okay, so today we're not just here to teach you how to use an editing software or just to edit. We're here to teach you how to think like an editor. So I want to show you guys two different videos made by the same editor, but they're going to be different videos. And the first one is this one right here. It is, I'm not gonna tell you what it is actually. I'm just gonna play it for you guys and we're gonna see how that goes.
Let's talk about doing it bold. I've been living in Thailand for 5 months now, eating new foods, meeting new creatives, and just saying yes to life in ways I never had before. I knew I would grow out here, but I didn't think 5 months in, I'll be screening a short film that I filmed, produced, and edited myself. So this is for every creative who's afraid to take a leap, afraid you won't find your own rhythm again. You can. I'm living proof that you can leave what's familiar and build something even better. This Friday from 7 to 9 p.m. in Chiang Mai, Thailand, I'm screening that film, and not just mine. I'll be screening films made by creators around the world. If you're out here and wanting to build community too, come through to Freebird Cafe. It's free, donations are encouraged, and I'll see you there.
That was the first video, and this is the second video.
Congratulations to loving the you that you met in a new place. In the midst of learning a new love in a new environment, to taking time to sit and breathe. It is still so important to appreciating the connections that come along the way. So here's to romanticizing the new you and appreciating the old. Taking your step into that shoe is really bold. So appreciate every single journey along the way. Because the you that you want to be is already the you that you are today.
Did you ever think that you would be traveling across the road to Chiang Mai and living here?
It's crazy because I doubted the how, but not the what.
Beautiful.
So I knew I was going to be here. I just didn't know for how long or how I was going to get here.
So, those two forms of editing, they were two different forms if you didn't realize, but if you did, then kudos to you. But this is, I want to ask you guys, what did you feel or didn't feel? And they were two different forms of editing, so did you notice that they were two different forms? And if you felt something, what exactly did you feel? And I'm just gonna open it up to the floor to a couple of you guys. And I do need participation. Yes?
I would say the second film was more intentional.
Okay.
I felt like the second one had more emotions and that you were actually kind of conveying your emotions through, not necessarily, like the second video didn't really need subtitles because the video itself spoke for itself.
Well, Deja had her hand up first, I believe.
Yeah, I totally agree. I feel like the second one was a bit more intentional. I felt more like a connection to it. Like I felt drawn in, like in a more like with my heartstrings, I suppose. So, and I feel like it was more like an art piece. I guess like I can really see like that's your creator's expression and what you wanted to share through that message.
Beautiful.
Whereas the first one, I felt like because of the subtitles and it was like I was engaged. I'm like, okay, she's trying to tell me something important.
Exactly.
Oh,
perfect.
There's this event coming up. That's it. So
Awesome, awesome. Thank you for that, Deja. And Brian?
Yeah, the second one felt yeah, like an art piece. It felt surreal, with like visuals and music, and yeah, it really made me feel a certain type of way. Like the first one was more of a, straight to the point, message come out, and then the other one was like just like an art piece, like you can see like in a art gallery or something.
Beautiful, beautiful. The first one is what we would like to call, which a lot of us will see, is retention-based editing. And all right, go ahead. No, it's okay, please. Thank you.
Yeah, I feel like the first one's really familiar for what we've seen a lot of. But it also felt like really expositional, where you're just throwing a lot of information over and like having a lot of visual elements to go ahead and keep people engaged. And the second one felt more along the lines of an art piece, like you guys were saying. But I think that's also partly because you were triggering other senses, so it was more of a somatic experience between smelling the flowers and having the shifts in sound and all things like that. You were cause more of the body to be engaged in the moment.
Yes, yes, beautifully explained. I appreciate that as well. So as some of you and most of you said, one is retention-based editing, where you catch the viewer's attention in 3 seconds or less, and you try to keep them engaged. It's still intentional storytelling, but it's faster, it's quicker, and the visuals don't always have to make sense with the word and the message behind it. The second one, which is this one, is a more of an intentional piece. I would call this more an editorial type of storytelling. The reason why is because it's not narrative, technically. It's a poem, so some people will call it a poetic cinematic piece. Okay, so we're going to get into this course. So today we're on Edit with Intent, Attention, Emotion, Meaning, and the 3 pillars of every edit. Control of emotion is the second class that we'll be doing. How to fill a performance and cut with it, not against it. Story architecture will be the third one. 3-act thinking for short form, long form, and everything in between. The fourth one will be sound and atmosphere. Dialogue, SFX, score, silence, layering the full sonic world, which you guys may have heard as well in the second intentional piece, but that's only like the first layer of sound effects that people will be going through, because there's so many layers of how to tell a story just with sound effects. If you can listen to a film without visuals and the story still carries just with the dialogue and the sound effects, it's a really, really good story. Okay, and the last one is my favorite one, and that is content to cinematic. So how to make your footage look like yours is what some people will call LUTs, and our color correction, our color grading. Color correction is different from color grading because you can just correct your footage and there's no special grade on it, but then you get color grading. Okay, not gonna go too deep into it because that's another lesson. Okay, the principles of editing. The editor's mind. The editor is the last writer in the whole production process. The script ends at production. The final story is written in the edit. Every cut rewrites what happened. So oftentimes when projects get to the editor, so many things may have changed in the pre-production and production, and then when it gets to post-production, you're like, that doesn't look nothing like the shot list or the storyboard, if there is one. Sometimes you may be in a case where a lot of you guys are content creators, right? So you guys already make your own content, right? So you guys can set yourself up for success when you guys properly introduce your pre-production and follow it along through with your post-production. Editing is a language. Every cut says something. A fast cut creates urgency, which quickness you guys see in the retention-based editing. A long hold creates weight, which in the second piece you guys see more intentional holds. And you're always communicating even when you don't mean to. You're not just cutting footage. You're controlling what people feel, when they feel it, and how long they feel it, whether it lands or slips right past them. Structure before the edit. So without structure, you're reacting and not just editing. A reactive editor opens the timeline, drags clips, hope it works, spends 4 hours and finding out it doesn't work. You should not have to spend that long on your footage when you're editing if you set yourself up for success in the pre-production. An intentional editor knows the feeling that they're building before a single cut, and the timeline is just execution. There's so many projects that I've done just in Thailand alone that because my pre-production was set up properly, it took me 30 minutes to edit, maybe less, right? And I felt the feeling when I get clients, when they have good storyboards and shot lists versus when they don't. And it's a lot of revisions and versus, yeah, just set yourself up for success, right? So how to be less reactive and more intentional. Reactive editors probably, please don't do this. Like they drag footage on the timeline and spend hours on a story. They don't create story without asking, well, they create story without asking and answering questions, and they just go in unorganized and not ready to pivot. Sometimes in editing, you need to be able to pivot because maybe you didn't get the shot, or maybe they didn't get the shot on set, or maybe the sound isn't there. So be able to pivot and know how to problem solve in the editing room, but that comes next. An intentional editor, they learn how to make selects. That's the good take of the footage. You don't have to go through your footage. Find the good take, make the select, drop it, and put it in a folder. Use script, shot lists, and our storyboards. If you have all three, you're set up, but if you only have one, you're better than nothing. Answer at least one question a viewer will have. How does this make me feel? How do I want my viewer to feel? What audience am I talking to? Okay, the 5 forms of editing. This is where the cool part comes in, right? You guys already seen the first 2 forms of editing from the first 2 videos. They're from the same skill, different intent, and completely different outcome. So retention is short form editing. It's the hook in 3 seconds. Every moment earns the next, and pacing is a weapon. Pacing is something that keeps your viewers engaged, and it is how much a person breathes. You ever like, that is, think about editing as a form of breathing and pacing, right? And editorial is the mood, the rhythm, the brand. The edit is the aesthetic and filling over emotion. This is something that you'll see like Nike, Jordan, your favorite makeup brand doing to advertise themselves in an editorial pace. You've seen pretty whips, you've seen maybe talking, maybe not talking, but the intention is to convey a deep, deep emotion of the brand and to get you into the mood and the rhythm of the feel, right? With little words as possible. Poetic and cinematic, non-linear, feeling first, image and sound, and sound creates meaning beyond words. So the film that you guys seen before, I without a shot of a doubt bet you if there was no sound, you would still be completely engaged because the images were so nicely shot, composition was beautiful, and the color grading was amazing, right? So that's what poetic cinematic is. You basically can see a really nice image and the composition can be phenomenal and it just still takes you away because our eyes attract to centerpieces. It's just, what is it called? It's a special rule, not ringing a bell right now, but not just rule of thirds, but it is a part of the, dang, it's not, we're gonna go with the rule of thirds for right now, but it's another one, but documentary. The story is found in the edit. 40 hours of footage, one truth you choose to tell. So documentary editing is actually my favorite type of editing because I find a specialty in finding the story as I go. But also, if I set up my pre-production correctly, it's not that hard in documentary editing because I have a question I want to ask, how I want to answer it, and how I want it to be told. Especially if I'm getting it for clients, they usually have a structure. I just have to answer those questions within the edit. So the best way to edit a documentary edit is to actually take all the dialogue and the script writing that you have, transcribe it, which you're using, you take the dialogue and you transcribe it so you can read it, and you find the best quotes and you find the best visuals, best quotes, and you find the best voiceovers, and you create pieces and stories. It's called text editing before you actually get to a visual edit. Short film, that is your narrative, feature film type of aspects. It has more of an emotional arc, structure, narrative, and every scene must earn the next. This is something where you see characters talking to each other. These 1, 2, and 3, that barely has people talking to each other in a narrative format. You have people talking directly to the camera, which is enhance your A-roll, and then you have B-roll explaining it. All of these have B-roll. B-roll is your secondary footage to explain the story that your A-roll is saying. Your A-roll is something that's directing or showing the actors on screen. Okay, so your short film narrative arc would have something like, if me and Jazz are in a conversation, hey Jazz, how are you? The camera will show Jazz, I say something and then it will switch to me. Narrative editing and short form editing, okay. Storyboard and shot listing, my favorite part. Oh my goodness. All right, nobody got excited? Okay, no worries. We'll get into this, all right. So, what is a storyboard? It's a visual sequence of scenes drawn or noted that maps the intended story before filming begins. Editors use storyboards to understand the director's original vision, what was intended, what was captured, and what's missing. The tools that I like to use, my personal favorite, Milanote. I now use Freeform because Milanote's subscription was getting crazy, I'm not gonna lie. Pen and paper, and then Studio Binder. Studio Binder is a free website. It's not free, but they give out shot list scripting for free because Studio Binders is a community-driven website, that community, and they just give out free stuff. So I will suggest signing up to the email list because they give you so many tips and tricks on how to be a better editor and filmmaker. But Milanote is my personal favorite. The structure is amazing, and then Freeform is next. It's like Apple's version of Milanote. So, what is a shot list? And I'm gonna slow it down. Am I talking too fast for you guys? Okay. What is a shot list? A shot list tells you before you touch the footage. So shot type, wide, medium, close, detail. Subject, who or what is being filmed. Movement, static, pan, handheld, and follow. Duration, how long the shot runs. And intended feel, tension, calm, energy, and weight. This is also something for all the content creators here. When you guys are making your footage, ask yourself mostly the intended feel, and then once you get your intended feel, you will know the shot type that you want. The subject most likely is you guys, but say for instance it's somebody else, and then movement. Every movement makes something feel different in your editing. Even if you have a static shot in your editing software, you can make it follow, you can make it feel like it's handheld depending on the type of editing techniques you know. Okay, this is what a shot list kind of looks like. It's different from a storyboard, and a shot list looks like this. Shot 1, 2, 3, and 4. The locations are similar, but there's different types of shot. Oop, I went too fast, y'all. Give me a second. Okay, so fast street pacing. This is WS is a wide shot. MS means medium shot, and CU means close up. Okay, soft morning light. They wanted something soft morning light, right? Side, you see that. And then close up a medium shot, right? Hand scrolling outdoor content close up. This is going to be a close up, but it's also in the form of a POV. A POV is the person's perspective. So it'll be most likely camera here or camera here showing the perspective of the person doing the action. Medium shot, it's like a medium frame. It's not too close, it's not too wide, it's just perfectly in the middle. Okay, and they want this centered frame. So not over here, not over there, mostly in the center. Okay, that's more so on the filmmaking side, but you guys need to know these type of shots if you guys want to enhance your editing skills or know different type of framing when you're filming your own content. Okay, they got B-roll here. Okay, so I'm gonna go back here a little bit. You guys see these images, correct? So the footage that I'm about to show you guys this is from a client, by the way. This is not my own personal project. This is from a client, and they sent me these images and that shot list, and then I sent them this project that I'm about to show you guys.
When's the last time you felt confident finding your way outside? Out here, knowing a little makes everything feel possible. You don't need to be an expert, just curious. We'll show you the way. Step outside. We'll teach you how.
Okay, so how did you guys feel in the aspect of seeing the shot list and the storyboard versus seeing the film? Do you think that I stayed on track to their intention? Yeah, maybe, yeah. Okay, so perfect example. These shots, they did not get this. So the first couple shots that you guys seen is stock footage. Right? There's a way to use stock footage to underline and mix with your actual footage. The only footage that they actually did get was the shot list of the actual hikers, the shoes, and actual nature. Everything city was stock footage. But if you color grade and you make your sound effects and your sound effects and your push and pans visually tell the same story, it'll all go together and people will barely tell anything, okay? So yeah, I was kind of sad when they told me they didn't get no footage, but it was easy because the beginning shot is more so fast, quick, not too long of a holds, as well as some of their nature shots, the one at the end, that's also stock footage as well. But if you color grade it correctly and you know how to shot type match, then your footage will be able to be in the same correlation, such as if you guys use a Sony camera, an FX30, and an iPhone, if you know how to color grade correctly, use sound effects, you can make them all look like they come from the same camera. Okay. Right? All right, awesome. Let's get into the next part. Color grading is not a filter. So it's the emotional temperature of your edit. We'll get into this and properly in week 4, but correction. Correction is something to make your footage accurate. So if you guys are shooting with iPhones, it's kind of, I think they do have a setting now with iPhones where you can shoot in log now, but there's apps like DaVinci Resolve, DaVinci Resolve, Blackmagic, you can, yes? You can shoot in what? Log, so log is the S-Log, but iPhone has their own log. I'm not really sure. Do you know what iPhone log is called? Give me, yeah. So log means, I never had to explain log. Brian, what would you say log means? Yeah, so It is. If you want more control over your color grading, I honestly, log isn't even the topic today. So when we go to week 4, we'll get more into color grading. So yeah, that's why I didn't take so many like deep into it on color grading. But correction. So when you get in your correction of your footage, this is saturation. It controls the vibrancy, the color in your film. And then when you get into your shadows and your whites, which is the darkness or the lightness and aspect of your image, you can enhance it or take it down. And that's setting the tone for the proper way your footage is supposed to look. It's basically taking it from a base gray scale to a nice vivid image, if you see. Sometimes our iPhones do it for us, so we don't have to even look at that, but that's why they have the settings in the iPhone to say adjust, so you can turn up the shadows, turn down the whites or the highlights, and the highlights is something that gets really, really bright in your image, and you wanna be able to turn it down. Okay, grading is which we were talking about when you actually make a look for your image. So you have correction and then you have your grading. But special grading happens honestly before you get into your editing. If you want a really red image, you want to do that before you get into your editing, such as a red light or making sure you shoot in a area that is more red, right? And then your LUTs. Your LUTs help you. We're not gonna get into LUTs because y'all gonna want to know the definition and all that stuff. But it's not a filter. Let's just say that. It's not basic as just a filter you throw on it. It's something that you have more control over and you can make it to your liking. All right, if you guys already have footage of your own, I would like you to pull up a project of yours, and or if you don't, you can scan this QR code and there's some footage that I filmed just for you guys. We're going to be practicing a little bit of editing. If you guys are making a new project, Command N, you don't have to press new project. It's gonna already open up a project. To import footage, you're gonna use Command I, and it's gonna go here. You don't have to always click on import. You just press Command I. If you have your own, if you have HP, if you go to this little thing right here in the corner, it says shortcuts. You're gonna look at your computer shortcuts right here. Right? If you want to move your playhead, you use L to the left. And if you want to move your playhead back, you move J to the right. Okay? It's a faster way to find a hook in your image, in your video. So personally, you're gonna wanna do captions. And you're going to want to, that's if you have a lot of talking in A-roll and in your A-roll to look at. So I can make sure, I already know I can just cut this already. I know I can cut this, I know I can cut this, I know I can cut this, and I know I can cut this, because there's no words anywhere else worth it, right, to even look at. I'm gonna also turn back on P so it can clip into place. Cool thing is, if you do this, you're gonna copy, and you're going to say, paste attributes, you're going to paste the attributes, you're going to press paste, and it should do the same thing to this footage. So it flipped it all, so you can actually take all of that, highlight it, press paste. There's shortcuts for this, but I don't use shortcuts all the time, to be honest with you. Okay, and now everything has it, I don't have to go through manually. So if you, yes, the sound as well. Shift, Control S. Extracts the audio. When you're in DaVinci Resolve and Premiere Pro, they automatically separate the audio, but CapCut puts it together. How do you guys feel? Do you guys feel like you learned something and retained something? Yeah. Okay, awesome. Awesome. I appreciate that. Awesome. Yes, no, thank you for coming. This means a lot. I appreciate you. All right, guys, I'm gonna shut this down and yeah, all right. Okay. Thank you. Oh God, Trey, why Trey?